Hold on. Oh, COVID. Alright. Alright, ready?
I think so.
Alright, you can start it off. I'm not gonna start this shit off. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Open Up, our podcast trying to promote mental health, men's mental health, more awareness to mental health, women's mental health too, just mental health, period. My name is Lucas.
And I'm Michael, and today we are going to be talking about how someone can foster an environment where a man can feel vulnerable.
Yes, shout out to our amazing followers who actually sent us a message asking for us to specifically talk on this subject based on our experiences.
Hell yeah, shout out to him. But yeah, so we kind of want to talk about how important it is to create like this environment where a man or whoever can feel open to being vulnerable, because so many people are hard-headed or allow their ego to get in the way of them opening up with their significant other, which can cause short-term or long-term damage in the relationship.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult for men to talk about things that are going on inside to begin with, right? And when you're in a relationship, it's a very, very important piece of making it work, is like obviously allowing them in to see kind of what's going on and allowing them to just get a glimpse of like life through your eyes, right? It just ultimately makes you guys feel more connected. So based on our experiences, we wanted to give some tips, you know, to the ladies, or maybe even to the men too, whatever. We just wanted to give some tips as to how you can foster that type of environment, right? So the first thing that we have a couple points down here to talk about. The first thing is ultimately communicating with intent, right? So asking questions around the specific issues. So what we mean by this is like when you feel like something's up, ask questions around it, right?
Don't ignore it.
Hey, your guy just like isn't having a good day. Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you having a good day? Talk to me. What happened at work? What's happening with your family?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this? Right? So like ask specific questions. And the thing is, like I said, guys just are wired differently, right? So it might not be an automatic. You might not just get it out right away, right? It might be, hey, what's going on? Nothing. Oh, nothing? Okay, so why are you acting weird? Like, why are you acting shady? Not even like that, but like, okay, so why haven't we really talked all day, right? Oh, I just just forgot about it. Well, that never happened, so why did you forget about it? Like, what's happening? Can you let me in, right? Yeah. So like, ask specific questions around it, and slowly, I think you start to pry stuff out, and then it turns into a deeper conversation.
And to talk about that too, like we're wired to suppress our emotions, and it's not gonna happen in one day, you know what I'm saying? You're not just gonna ask a question and boom, they're gonna emotionally release. But like, be patient with the individual, especially if they've always suppressed their emotions due to past relationships, to their parents telling them to not cry, don't, you know what I'm saying? Like all that bullshit. And like Lucas was saying, like ask direct questions that continue the conversation. Once you see that they start opening up, start asking a little bit more specific questions, because like you don't want that shit to bottle up. I'm guilty of this, where if there's something wrong that happens, not even just my relationship, just like in general, if there's a relationship with a friend or whatever, and something's wrong and I bottle it, guess what? Those emotions start taking space in your mind, and you start overthinking shit, and then it's way more than what it was, and then it's just this huge ordeal, and boom, 3 weeks later, the person explodes. You know what I mean? So,
and you're mad at things you just like you have no reason to be mad about.
Exactly. And also, not saying that every relationship needs like a boom, explosive, like negative moment where somebody's bawling their eyes out, whatever, but most people have that, like, no cliche, no pun intended, like that opening up period or like moment where a man's opening up to whoever they're talking to, and they start crying, whatever. They're super emotional. Like that's a very pivotal moment for the individual. Like, be reassuring for that person. Like, make sure that, because like a lot of guys are like, oh, I feel like a fucking pussy crying in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure that individual feels like they're okay. Like, even though like a guy's supposed to feel okay with their significant other, whatever. But like in that moment, you're so vulnerable. You're like, fuck, like I'm expressing all this shit. Hopefully this person doesn't feel negatively towards me. Like make sure like you are opening that environment and making it like comfortable as can be for that person.
Yeah, capitalize on it, right? So Mike brought up a couple good points, a couple other things that we had written down. So when the moment happens that like a guy lets you in, which might be rare, right? Capitalize on that moment. Hey, oh my God, I just cried. I feel like a bitch. No, don't. Like that's awesome. Like great job. You know, like I'm glad that we got to. You showed me that side of you. Like I love it. I feel way more connected, right? Like reassure them that it's okay, because like it's weird. Like it's really, really hard for guys to cry, for guys to feel emotion. Mike also brought up the great point that like we are just absolutely wired a certain way. So it's like when you're told from the second you're out the womb that you're not supposed to cry, you're supposed to be tough, you're not supposed to show any weakness, you're not supposed to show anything. The only thing you can do is be strong and get over it, man up, right? Like that takes so much time, that takes so much out of you, right? And you literally get wired robotic. So when you get these opportunities in a relationship that they do show you emotion, they do show you vulnerability, whatever it may be, reassure them that like that's what you want. Like I love it when you talk to me like that, and it's phenomenal. I think our relationship's being to the next level, right? And slowly but surely things are going to build up, right? And that's the third point. Mike touched a little briefly on it, but like realizing that it takes time. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. Like we've said, we're just programmed differently. Like it's just the way that it is, because that's just the way that it's always been, right? And there's that stigma around men being vulnerable. So no man, we've gotten hundreds of messages of guys who are like, thank you for doing this.
Literally.
Because like no one does it, right? But like so many men want to express themselves and like want to show the world like that there's more to them than being a robotic machine, you know, but like you've just been trained so long that you don't know how to. So realize that it takes time, it takes a while, right? Like you can be in a relationship for like 2 years, right? And only see them cry one time, or never see them cry, or whatever. Like it's a process that's just gonna take a lot, right? And it's hard, and it takes a lot of effort on both sides, the woman and the man, or the man and the man, like whatever. But it takes a lot on both sides of the relationship.
And to balance off that as well, we've mentioned a few times, like make sure you're reassuring the individual. Don't assume that they feel reassured. Like, make sure you tell, because like as guys, a lot of shit goes over our head, like a lot. Yeah. Like, and I'm not saying like what's the word? Like cushion the person, or like really, but like make sure you're literally communicating. Yeah. Be super direct. Like,
hey, thank you for that.
Exactly. I appreciate you saying that. Like, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like being direct with that communication, and then instead of just assuming like, since you were just sitting next to the person, that they feel reassured. That's not the case.
Yeah. Because if I just bawled my eyes out to you, and you're like, and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like such a soft ass, and you're like, oh no, don't. You know, like to you that's reassuring, right? But to me, I'm just like what just happened?
Like, what can I do for you? Like just questions like that.
Did I really? Should I have done that? Whatever, right? So it's more like, I'm glad I got to see that. Like, I think that took our relationship to the next level. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. Like, I feel so much more connected to you. I feel like our relationship just took that next step, right? Like, guys
appreciate things that you just said. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and guys are just so oblivious that it's like you really do have to be direct. And that brings us to our last point, right? Being direct. Like, if you feel something's going on, say it. Bring it up. Talk about it. Like, bring it to the front line. Don't put it aside, right? If you know, if we're talking and you know something's off, and I'm just like not being me and I'm being weird, hey, why are you being weird, right? Like, put it out in the front line, and like make the guy notice that you notice, right? Like, bring it out, have him try to talk about it, try to break into his head, right?
Yeah.
And really, like, don't avoid problems, right?
Don't
like,
avoid shit.
Don't, because I know it might be tough, but it's only going to make you better, and it's only going to make you stronger, and it's only going to help foster that environment where, like, wow, like, she actually cares about me, and she actually wants to hear how my day is. She actually noticed that I'm not okay, right? Even though, like, I'm trying really hard to put myself together, because that's what I'm trained to do. She noticed that I wasn't.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's basically just don't suppress the emotions, because eventually that's just going to pop out. You know what I mean? And what are some things that...
And guys, try.
Yeah, it's not just a one-way street either.
Fellas, like, the guys that are watching this, like, fucking try to talk to your girl, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna block them off trying to be a machismo, not feeling anything man, and they're gonna fucking leave you because they're sick of your shit, right? No so stop it. Like, try to let them in. Like, really work on it, and it's only gonna bring your relationship to the next level. So I mean that brings us to just to wrap up, because I feel like we kind of talked a lot. Communicating with intent, right? Asking kind of questions around what's going on. Being direct if you feel something, like, bring it to the front line. When you get that opportunity, when a man opens up, reassure them, right? Let them know that it's okay. Foster that environment, and realize that it's not going to happen overnight. These things take time. So that's overall the things. So
some action steps that I want to challenge guy or girl. Next time you get into a discussion with your significant other, be a little bit more patient, even though you want to be mad. Obviously, if there's a scenario where you deserve to be mad, whatever. But try to be a little extra patient and try to understand their perspective instead of just giving your input. Like, try to understand why they're feeling the way that they are. Regurgitate the fact that you feel supportive or that you understand. Because, like, I think I've said this in a previous video, like, I learned this through Annalise, my girlfriend, where in past relationships, I was afraid to argue. Now, I'm not afraid to bring up how I feel, because I just want her to understand how I feel and vice versa, and that's a much healthier way of communicating whatever's going on in our mind versus just ignoring it. So my action step would be just try to be a little bit more patient next time you get into a confrontation with your significant other.
Yeah. And then my action step, I guess, would be, this one's for the fellas out there, right? Like, if you're having a rough day, talk to your girl about it. Or talk to your significant other about it. Like, try to let them in and try to have a conversation around it, because a lot of times they can make you feel better, and it makes you feel overall like more connected to the relationship when you kind of on the same wavelength.
100%. The vibes are real.
Yeah. So, thanks to you guys. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Open Up. Hopefully that could help a couple people out, right? Like I said, that was a specific request. To have that conversation.
Please keep commenting, letting us know
if you want us to talk about something.
We're about it.
Light,
yeah, we're like, we don't have topics. Just I'm kidding.
We meet up before recording. We're like, all right. Right, so let us know if you ever want us to talk about anything. Hope this helped out a couple people. Hopefully this can make a difference. You know.
And
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all
later.
next week.
Later.